The Odyssey is finally out and is being hailed as the best adaptation yet, or Nolan's next masterpiece. I think he did great at adapting it because, the Odyssey isn't just guy goes on a boat ride home. He restructured a lot of the timeline. As Nolan usually does, he leans into the whole storytelling within storytelling medium, which does work pretty good considering Homer's The Odyssey jumps around a lot as well. I think someone like Christopher Nolan is honestly perfect to make this movie. He's so good at making known stories feel new. See Oppenheimer. Yes, it's a story about Robert Oppenheimer and everything surrounding the creation of the atom bomb, but more specifically, it's a movie about humankind and how we will do anything to make ourselves feel better or more powerful even if it costs us everything. The Odyssey is not too dissimilar, but about the other side of human emotion. Odysseus's return to Ithaca isn't a grand return. He arrives and doesn't even recognize his own home. He immediately wonders not if people are awaiting his arrival, but if he is even wanted back. Just like in the Battle of Troy, he's now in a battle with emotions, his sense of purpose in the world and his old values. Even despite the otherworldly challenges he's overcome, he's hung up on these very human dilemmas. So instead of waltzing into his kingdom, he puts on a disguise to undermine the suitors and see if people still honor him before his official return. He interacts with a few people under disguise until he comes across his old dog. This is the first recognition to come of Odysseus re-entering Ithaca, and they have a bittersweet moment where Odysseus is pained by the fact he can't help save his dog in sake of keeping himself undercover. The coming together of his wife and son all have this same bittersweet tone, reassuring his wife he remembers times past and lending his identity to his son early, knowing even though he hasn't seen his son since he was an infant, there's still such a connection, which then opens the opportunity to be able to take back his kingdom with him, keeping the father-son bond going. That feels like it never really left despite Odysseus's Odyssey. The movie being really the epic of all time, it's easy to pass over the reunions and emotional impact that the movie brings, which it does with much complexity and is really beautiful. Guilt is a prominent theme throughout the movie as well. Odysseus retells and relearns the worst years of his life, and though he may not consciously realize it, Athena, who he's been talking with ever since the Trojan War, was really just a lady who lived in Troy, who was then beheaded alongside the statue of Athena without real cause. She was an innocent. She posed no harm. Odysseus witnesses this act of pure brutality and develops PTSD in the manifestation of Athena, simultaneously manifesting as Odysseus's guilt. She finally parts ways with Odysseus once he confesses everything to his wife and follows his fate to honor his men. For a movie so deep into the human psyche, Matt Damon gives one of his best performances to the titular role as Odysseus. It's a very demanding role. You have to be loud and really larger than life while also having your real self under that shell, a more lost and quiet version of yourself. This being the hero story, Nolan focuses less on big events of the movie compared to something like Oppenheimer. Although being very character focused, we're still leading up to the big nuke test the whole film. The Odyssey, however, has so many big moments throughout its runtime we're constantly seeing how these affect Odysseus in real time. I think Matt Damon excels in bringing to the screen how difficult these emotions would be to deal with. He's not the perfect hero archetype you see in most media nowadays. The supporting cast, which feels weird to say because everyone in this movie is an A-lister, was great as well. The Odyssey will go down as one of the greatest acted movies in a very long time, I feel. I had slight issues with Tom Holland's performance at the start, just something I couldn't really get into with it, but as the movie progressed it all kinda came together. Although her role was small, Mia Goth really did a great job at making me hate her. Obviously Robert Pattinson's character adds to that, but I really didn't like any time she was on screen. It always seemed like she was gonna betray them somehow and was just always making me nervous. I think my biggest issue with the movie is, semi-hot take, Christopher Nolan isn't that good at directing fight scenes. Hear me out. He's a very intricate director and looks for perfection in every single shot, but it really seems like he doesn't care that much about fight scenes. Every fight feels very lethargic, kinda leaving realism out of the equation, and it's really disappointing because you have great looking sets, armor, actors, but the choreography and honestly cinematography for these fight scenes just falls flat. The final showdown, although I still really liked it, felt kind of wacky. Would the guy dropping spears down the hole in the ceiling really just let Tom Holland lay on the floor for 30 seconds so he can hop back up and kill him? I don't think so. and Matt Damon fighting probably 100 people all at once felt very video game-esque. They totally would have all just jumped him and beat him. It's not a massive issue, but it's still an issue, and is really what drops the movie out of being perfect for me, especially because the Odyssey is all about a man's journey, war, and then taking back over his kingdom, which all includes fighting. To piggyback off the fighting issues, we all know Nolan loves IMAX. And for the Odyssey, he wanted to go full IMAX mode, no other formats, which I think for a story as grandiose as this, that's a fair assessment. But at times, it feels like the IMAX was limiting the story's potential, not widening it. IMAX constricts how long you're able to shoot for, being only able to run for 3 minutes at a time, and the cameras are so bulky and huge they constrict being able to capture certain angles and shots that could have been more in favor to the story. You notice this much more in dialogue scenes rather than in big wide-angle shots, but at a certain point it felt like Nolan was just using only IMAX to say that he did, rather than for sake of the story. Another thing, you could argue whether any of the mythological elements we saw in the movie were really real, considering everything we know about Odysseus' Odyssey was from a lotus-filled memory. His recollection of Agamemnon never showed his face and made him larger than life, being a sign of his inflated ego, and black as night showing his lack of morals. It's not to say his Odyssey wasn't as long or difficult as he's explaining it, but everything is explainable without needing some mythological being. I like to think that they did happen though. I think this will age to be hailed as one of Nolan's best. It's the perfect story for what he loves to do, make shit epic, and I think he did a great job. But go watch the Odyssey and form your own opinion, and let me know what I should do a video on next. But until then, I've been Verybigdumb.